Hi, yet another episode of All Mutual on the Money. Today we're talking about a very interesting subject. I am told that there's just north of 2.5 million small, medium, and micro enterprises in South Africa. They are said to be the backbone of the country's economy. And today we're going to specifically focus on insurance around SMEs. Today we have in studio Sean van der Berg. Sean is an executive of Alternative Channels, but clearly he's going to tell us more about himself, the business that he runs, and what does it mean for SMEs. Sean, hi.
Hi, Tabu. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Insurance. Look, I know that it's not necessarily a pleasurable subject to talk about, right? In fact, there's a say in your industry that a small business without insurance is like a spaza shop without airtime. Clearly, this must be very, very important. Tell me more about this commercial insurance business for small and micro enterprises.
Thank you, Tabu. So before we start to speak about commercial insurance, I think it's important to understand that SMMEs are the backbone of this country. 40% of the GDP for South Africa is represented by the SMMEs in this country. It also has 60% of the employment in this country. So it's extremely important for this country to safeguard the SMMEs. Now that's where insurance comes in. Insurance helps companies in their longevity, sustainability, and survival. Within the first 5 years, 70% of SMMEs fail, close door, because of some or other reason. One of those reasons is something that insurance can help with.
Oh, wow, 70%. Surely that's an incredible number. Then it speaks to the importance of insurance. But why commercial insurance? Why can't I just take my normal funeral cover and cover my business? What is this importance of commercial insurance for SMEs?
So think about insurance as a policy that looks after something that can be replaced or can't be replaced at any given time. So if you have a business that needs, let's say, a printing machine, right? You're a printing company, without a printer, your business can't run, right? That machine breaks down, there's a fire, there's a flood, water damage, someone comes in and steals it. You cannot operate without that machine. You don't have a business anymore.
Oh, wow. So essentially, insurance is about risk, right? Talk to me about transfer of risk, the difference between a commercial transfer of risk and the individual transfer of risk. What is the difference between the two?
So very important to understand there's no difference, right? You in your personal capacity has some sort of inherent risk in your business. You commute to work every day. In your personal house, you go to work, you leave it alone. There's a risk there. In a SMME in the commercial space, it's the same thing. You leave that business unattended in the evening. There's a lot of processes that go on there. You've got a lot of assets within that business. Something happens to one of those assets. It could be a tool, it could be a machine, it could be a building, it could be one of your vehicles that impacts it. Now, transferring that risk so that you can sleep at night means that we look after that asset while you sleep at night for a premium.
Wow. And I can imagine that should anything happen, then there's going to be some sort of a business interruption. What is this thing called business interruption, and how does it get covered?
So business interruptions, a lot of people would go back to the times we had COVID, where all the business had to stop. But as I mentioned, 60% of the employment is within the SMME market. You've got livelihoods, you've got people's livelihoods that you have to safeguard. They need to get salaries. If they can't work, they can't earn. They leave the company. When people leave your company, you don't have a business. So it's very important that business interruption cover looks after the sustainability, longevity of your business. So it's a consequential risk of anything that happens. Let's say there's a fire. Your building burns down. Tomorrow, you can't take your employees to that building. It means your business can't operate. Business interruption will come in, pay for the consequential monetary funds, so the income that you lose, either revenue, gross profit, and even additional things to make sure that you get your building up and running quicker. So if you need to look at an alternative building in the interim while that building is being repaired, there's cover that you can take out for that. That ensures your business can continue despite the loss suffered.
So is that in addition to, for instance, I imagine that you insure windows breaking, all of those things that are tangible. So now you're talking about ensuring the income stream of what you could have potentially made in that. Am I understanding you correctly there?
So it's important to understand that business interruption is not there to look after the revenue that you would have made.
Okay.
It's there to ensure your business continues. So it looks after your overheads that you would have had, and then also a portion of the gross profits, right? So that you still have money to pay for whatever variable expenses you have during that period, right? It's not there to substitute the income you would have made, right?
I thought I'd just be rich out of it.
100%. And that's what most people don't understand. It's to ensure that you are put in the same position you would have been if that loss didn't occur.
So it's not self-enrichment scheme of
100%.
So the one thing that I know about insurance is it's not the most glamorous thing. We don't particularly go out in the morning and say, hey, today I want to buy insurance, right? Because there's an element of trust in it, right? Talk to me about something called the trust economy. What is this thing called trust economy?
The trust economy represents SMME's trust factor they have towards their clients. It's a commodity these days. If you don't have trust within your business, you don't have returning business. People will come back and buy once from you. If they don't get the satisfaction and the service from that business, they won't return. So think about it this way. You purchase a product and it was scheduled to be delivered within 10 days. Something happens on day 5. It was never packed. It didn't go in. You lost your machine that counted which package needed to go where. That item never gets to the consumer. That consumer doesn't know that you had an incident at your factory and quite frankly doesn't care. They didn't get the item as promised. You lose that trust. And that trust is something that is commoditized. It's tangible because you lose clients because of that. But if you had an insurance policy that took care of it, fixed you and put you back in the same place within record time, you would have been able to service that client still and regained and kept that trust.
Oh, wow. So trust is critical in insurance, and retaining that trust, and especially making sure that you live up to your word, is critical in this instance.
Yes.
But talk to me about, look, there's a lot of SMEs that are not registered companies. There's guys in Diepsloot, in Khayelitsha, all over the country that run SMEs in informal economies. Do I need to be a registered official company with a CEO for me to have a cover?
No. So that's a common mistake most people make. And I think that's why insurance is not as relevant and as subscribed as it should be in the informal sector. In order to take out insurance, the most important thing is insurable interest. You need to be able to suffer a loss to something that is within your ownership or within your control that impacts your business. You pay a premium for that and to put you back in the situation before that happened. That's the only golden thread that you need from an insurance policy. Registration, being registered or not, it doesn't have an impact. The only thing is that you have to have insurable interest. You must have suffered a loss at the time of an incident.
How important, Sean, then in that case is for SMEs to kind of report accurately in terms of what the insurance. For example, I'm doing some business in a township, and I know that I don't have a high wall. And I give you information that, no, my place is secure. How critical is it for me to give you accurate information?
So insurance philosophy or foundation is built on good faith. So we will ask the questions. The omission of questions means that we don't underwrite the risk properly. We don't understand your risk properly in order to charge a premium. That impacts how the claim is handled along the line. It's extremely important that you give all the information from the start. Similar to a medical aid and a life insurance policy, there would be underwriting. So most people think insurance companies ask you the question to catch you out in the beginning. It's actually in the reverse. The insurance companies ask the questions in the beginning so that we can handle the claim properly towards the end. It's not to decline you when a claim happens. It's actually to make sure that the process follows. That's why it's so important when you engage in small, medium, and micro enterprise insurance, you look for a broker, an agent that looks after you, comes to your premises, and helps you evaluate the risks at that premises. Because then it can find the gaps for you and look at exactly what you need to insure.
That's very interesting. It made me think of a scenario where I have my own car. It's a private car. I go to work with it. But most recently, I've seen an opportunity to actually pick up people and drive them and drop them at work. Does it make a difference whether I keep my insurance cover as still my personal, or is there a requirement for me then to say, hey, I'm picking up people for commercial reasons, if you want to call it that? Is it necessary for me to change insurance, or can I just keep it as, hey, this is my personal car?
When anything changes in your I guess your status of your daily living, more relevant than not, you need to be able to update your policy. So you can break it down to picking up people. It could be a lift club, could be e-hailing, but it changes the status of what you used the vehicle for when you initially engaged with the insurance company. So you've got to think about, what did I say to that insurance company when I started? And if anything changes, and not just who I'm driving to, where you're driving to, where you live, sometimes it goes as granular as, are you married? Are you not married? Did the color change of the car? Did you put signage on? Things like that. If anything changes, that's when you need to let your insurance company know, because it impacts the claim at the end.
Oh, wow. So the trust issue, disclosing of information, this is absolutely critical as it impacts your underwriting. But talk to me, Sean. Tell me about instances where people that run SMEs typically are underinsured. Is there anything like underinsurance?
Underinsurance is a common mistake that any insurer or insured makes, whether it's in personal lines or commercial. SMMEs evolve, right? Anything changes, things change from the time you get stock in to stock out. You might change your building, the value of your building increases, the inflation increases by 3 to 4% every year. That means everything changes. So from the first time you mentioned, I've got a building insured for 2 million for my warehouse in 2022, it's not the same situation in 2025. That building is 2.5, 3 million, right? And when you go to, when you have a claim, the insurance companies applies a factor to say that when you were insured initially, when you took the policy, you said it was 2.2, but actually it's 3 million rand. That impacts how your claim is handled down the line. There's a clause called underinsurance, and they apply an average. So then they go look at proportionately how much of that claim they're going to pay out compared to what you actually insured. So the easiest way to look at it is if I paid for iPhone 13, right? And iPhone 13 doesn't exist anymore. It's only an iPhone 16 that's in the market. Yes. I can't pay you out for iPhone 16 because you paid for iPhone 13, right? So if that iPhone 13 was insured, I'm going to pay you out for the iPhone 13. Now, when there's a claim for 3 million, you're going to feel, okay, but you're not paying enough for that claim because this building's actually worth 3 million. But you actually only paid for 2.2. So how can you be paid out for 3 million when you only have 2.2 million's worth of cover?
Is there anything called gap cover? Because clearly there's a gap somewhere.
Yes.
Is there anything that we can do with that?
Unfortunately not.
Unfortunately
but that's
not.
A good idea.
You see?
A top-up cover.
There we go.
There we go.
I have an idea. I'm going to be a billionaire one day to provide that gap cover.
Yes.
But you spoke to me about things changing. So you had a factory, it looks like this. Obviously, there's elements of innovation that comes through. Talk to me about the technology in your space. Do you use technology? Are you guys open to technological advancement in terms of how you manage the insurance?
Yeah, so as a corporate, Old Mutual looks after the technology advancements within the business. So we've, in every facet, we try to underwrite risk with a technology approach. So we use artificial intelligence to look at what type of risks can impact the business. And it's important that you reach out to your broker to ask, what type of risks does this business look at? What type of risk am I exposed to over the next, let's say, 6 months to 10 years? So those are the things you need to look at when you do your insurance. You need to use technology. You need to use technology to look at your stock. You need technology to look at your building. Where are you going in the next 5 years? Before you buy a building, engage with your insurance broker. Buying this building, I'm going to do this at this building. Is it insurable? A lot of people make a mistake because we can look at the building before you purchase and already tell you this building's going to cost you 3 million to do upgrades here in order for it to be insured. We've got that technology. We've got that information available. But then you buy the building and then look for insurance. And then the insurance company says, oh, we won't accept it without you doing X, Y, and Z. And now you're stuck. You either have a building that's not insured or you have to spend a lot of money to make it insurable.
Wow.
So it's very important that you approach your broker or your insurer and say, take this path with me. Walk this journey with me as a consultant, not just a transactional thing. I need insurance, I'm purchasing it. Get a broker that can walk this business with you and look at what you need to insure over time and regularly review, because as you change, like I mentioned, your values change, right? You have to keep updating it, and that's your broker's job.
Wow. So the partnership in insurance is critical. What other golden rules do you have for SMEs when it comes to insurance?
So the most important thing that's different to personal insurance to commercial insurance. Commercial insurance, you look at the risk that will cripple you. And when I say risk, it's the item, it's the peril. What's going to cripple your business today that will not let you produce service tomorrow? That's the most important thing that you need to look at. You don't have to go and insure the whole building and everything in it and all the people and all the vehicles and whatever the insurance companies tell you, because they want to make sure you safeguard everything. Look at what will cripple you tomorrow. Start there, but start. Get yourself an insurance portfolio. Most people want to take insurance out in the end of November.
Yeah.
When the silly season happens. Most insurance companies says we don't take new clients during December.
Oh, wow.
It's exactly for that reason, is you need to start the journey early. Know there are inherent risks in those businesses every single month, not just December. Safeguard yourself.
Yeah.
As your business evolves, you will start understanding and learn about insurance and then looking at other risks that will happen. Risks it's not if they happen, it's when they happen.
Wow.
And you have to make sure that you safeguard your business, especially within that 5 years, as I mentioned, for something that will cripple you today. If you do that, you ensure longevity and sustainability for you.
Right. But here's the thing, Sean. I know for most small business and micro enterprises and perhaps self-employed, every penny matters, right? Every cent matters. How do you then balance the issue of affordability and adequate cover? Because we spoke about underinsurance, for instance. We spoke about perils and what could cripple you. How do I get to that sweet spot, right, of balancing affordability and adequate cover?
I think it's a myth that commercial insurance is expensive. So a lot of people probably don't engage because I'm paying 1,200, 1,500 on my personal vehicle. What will commercial cover cost me? Because commercial cover is not expensive because it's very modular. You can go and look at a business and say, you know what, you need fire cover. There's big fire exposures around your business. You can only insure this building for fire, right? You can go and say, okay, you only need theft cover for X amount of your stock because this stock is the highest risk. The most likely someone will come in and steal this part of your stock. But you've got $1 million worth of stock. but the biggest things that they can carry and take out and would want to because it's got a resale value might only be 200,000. Insure that. Don't insure the whole million rand. It's unlikely that that will be stolen. And the transfer of risk back to our earlier question is then we take the 200,000, you transfer that risk to us. The other 800 you take yourself. It's a low exposure, so it doesn't cost much because you are self-insuring it. But the things that have the biggest exposure, you then insure. You transfer to an insurance company.
I love that. I wonder how many of us knew that insurance can be modular. So you don't have to take the entire thing, right? So if you were to talk to the SMEs out there, if you were to give them 2 or 3 ultimate golden nuggets and say, these are the things that one, either you watch out for or you should engage, what will those be? 2 or 3?
So the first thing I would say is reach out to a broker or a provider, insurance provider. Let them do a risk assessment. What they'll do is they'll go to your business, they'll basically do a QS without formalizing everything in a granular level. They will highlight exactly where your exposures are, right? Know your business. Okay, so that's the first thing, broker. Regularly review your insurance policy because things change. As soon as something changes, it impacts a claim. So make sure you review at least annually, biannually if you can. And then the third thing that's very, very important is deductibles, excess. Each insurance policy looks the same, but when you look at your deductible, so your excess, the first amount payable when there's a claim, it does impact your premium. And it's not a problem that it's high, but it needs to be affordable. So you need to look at that deductible and say, in an event my car is in an accident or my stock is damaged, can I pay 5,000 rand? Can I pay 10,000 rand? Do you have the access to that funds? Because more often than not, something happens and you don't have access to that fund. You look at the paper, it was okay at that time, but you don't have a constant access to that fund, and that can hurt your business. So make sure you look at the deductibles because they change per policy. What happens often is businesses look at the premium and compare the premium, but there's a high deductible there. It's a 10 million rand deductible on your 100 million or 50 million rand stock, but you don't have access to that money. Wow. And it's because you saved 500 rand a month on your insurance premium.
So saving $500 might actually be costly in the long run.
100%.
Sage advice indeed. Thanks, Sean. Thanks for insights on insurance, particularly as it relates to SMEs. You heard it, guys. The sage advice is don't go skimping on it. Just make sure that you match your affordability with adequate cover. Remember, things change. Review your policies because that might affect your claim. Thank you.